All right, welcome back everyone to the deep dive. We're diving into something pretty heavy today.
Yeah, we're going deep into Romans.
Deep into Romans. We're tackling Romans 1.18322 specifically. It's all about, well, what happens when people reject truth and God?
It's pretty intense.
It does, actually.
Yeah.
The text basically describes this downward spiral. It starts with denying truth, and it ends up in, like moral and spiritual decay.
Yeah.
So there's this idea that really struck me. Like, it says God's anger, It's not just random.
Yeah.
It's a response, a direct response to people actively suppressing, like pushing down the evidence,
Right.
the evidence of his existence. And get this, the evidence is found in nature. What is that evidence? I mean, why would rejecting it be such a big deal?
It's a great question, and it really goes to the core of what this text considers, like a deliberate rebellion.
Okay.
Imagine you're standing in this incredible landscape, sunlight coming through the trees, birds are singing. The text says that beauty, that order of the universe, that points to a creator. So to reject that, it's not just not believing.
Right.
It's choosing to ignore, like something really fundamental.
So it's not just that they don't believe, they're actually pushing that belief down, even when they're surrounded by, like you said, the evidence.
Exactly. And it goes even further. Like when you reject that truth, you don't just end up with nothing.
Right.
You get wickedness instead.
Oh, wow.
It talks about people creating idols. They worship creations, not the creator. What do you think that looks like today? I mean, we don't see people bowing down to statues that much anymore.
Well, I mean, you think about it. We idolize things, right? Like money, power, maybe even technology. These things become so big in our lives that they kind of mess up our priorities, our values. So we end up like serving the creation instead of, the creator.
Precisely. And then the text, it lays out this, it's kind of scary, this downward spiral. Starts with denying the truth, ends in depravity. It goes like this. Foolish ideas, clouded judgment, then worshiping those false idols we talked about.
Yeah.
And it's not just about believing in God. This passage says rejecting the why truth, any fundamental truth can lead to this moral decay.
There's this part, where it describes how these people feel inside. It's like inner turmoil.
Oh, yeah.
They're suffering.
Yeah.
But on the outside, everything looks fine. Have you ever felt that? Like a, disconnect between how you're doing and how you feel?
Oh, I think we've all felt that at some point. That dissonance, the text says, this turmoil, it comes from stubbornness. Even when they see the bad stuff that comes from denying truth, they just dig in deeper. Like they refuse to acknowledge it. It's stubbornness. And, that's really human, isn't it?
Right.
We cling to stuff even when we know it's bad for us. Think how hard it is to change your mind, even when you're wrong.
It's true. We hate to admit we're wrong. We get so attached to our views, especially if, they're part of who we think we are. And then there's this list, this whole list of sins.
Yeah.
The text says these are the things truth rejectors do. And it's crazy how relevant it still is today. Greed, hate, murder, deceit, gossip. I mean, these aren't problems from the past. We still struggle with this stuff.
Absolutely. Human nature, it hasn't really changed that much.
Yeah.
But, and this is even scarier, it says they don't just do these things, they encourage others to do them too.
Oh, wow.
Think about how that plays out in our world. Misinformation, bad ideas spreading around, people accepting harmful stuff. It's kind of disturbing when you think about it.
So rejecting truth can impact everyone, not just the person rejecting it, but like whole society.
That seems to be the point, yeah. And it leaves us with a question, a big one.
Okay.
What truths are we tempted to reject today? And what will happen if we do? It's not just about religion. It's about the truths we build our lives on. All of them.
It is a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Romans. We hope it made you think a little, maybe even question some things you hold dear, and, consider what might happen if we turn away from truth. Any truth.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.